Hey, what up, people? Comedian Ron G. Had some nuggets of wisdom I wanted to share with you. So I was talking to one of my buddies this week, man, and he was like, "Yo, I'm stuck in this place in my life, and I don't know how to get out of this place." And he was like, "What did you do to get to where you are?" And the word that popped in my head was vulnerability. It's funny because I feel like in our culture, particularly Black culture, we're taught to be strong and independent and not need anybody for anything, but that's not always the best way to be, because sometimes in order to get to where you got to go, you got to humble yourself and get the answers that you need. And so particularly even with Black women, like, I feel like, we've adopted this culture of being independent and strong, but I've never heard any other culture outside of Black women say, "I'm strong and independent and don't need nobody for nothing." I never heard an Asian woman say, "I'm strong and independent," or "I'm a strong Russian woman and I don't need a man for nothing." It's just mostly us. But anyway, my point was, I was telling him that when I got vulnerable across the board in my life got better. One, with my comedy, because I feel like I was always funny and charming, and I had this thing about me on stage, but it wasn't until I got vulnerable on stage that I started connecting with people, and I feel like my comedy went to a new level, because there was this heart connection with people like, "Yo, I know this person that you're talking about on stage," or "My uncle was like that," or "I went through heartbreak too," And then in my personal life with relationships, I feel like my relationships got better after I started doing vulnerability. Because most of the time when you notice people get hurt, they make their pain their business card, and they normally generalize. Hurt people always generalize. Like, "I don't fool with no Black people. I don't fool with no white people. I don't do Geminis," because they got hurt by one person and they generalize everything. And the thing I learned, particularly in my marriage, is there's no intimacy without vulnerability. And for me as a man, I'm responsible for that. So with my career, and even in acting as well, being vulnerable as an actor is like one of the most important things. If you don't practice vulnerability in your personal life, it's really hard to be an actor. Like, it's easy to play angry, but it's hard to play hurt if you don't do vulnerability. So I just wanted to share that with somebody, because maybe this word will help you, man. Vulnerability was the key to me basically becoming who I am, and even just connecting with God on a spiritual level. You got to be vulnerable and tell him what you need to get what you want. So I just want to share this with y'all and let y'all know, like, I just feel like it was worthy of sharing. So I hope I help somebody. And again, vulnerability is not a bad thing, especially when you own it. And this is I am. When you're vulnerable and you know who you are, nobody can use your pain or weaponize your pain against you. So I hope I help somebody. Don't block your blessing. Jesus.